What happens when you run the fastest mile split ever in marathon history? Total exhaustion. The 2022 New York City Marathon was definitely one for the history books. In both the men's and women's elite races, runners would take on the warm conditions that would break a few people. Usually at the New York City Marathon, the weather would range anywhere from the low 50s to 60 degrees. At the start of the race, the temperature was already 68 degrees, humid, and only getting warmer. Both elite fields contain marathon stars and the up and rising stars. Returning champion Albert Carrier looks to defend his title on the men's side, with very strong competitors taking their talents to the streets of New York. On the women's side, defending champion Peres Jepchirchir withdrew from the race just weeks before. A new champion would be crowned in the women's race, and with the warm conditions, it was going to come down to whoever felt the best. From the gun, Daniel do Nascimento took off and never looked back. The New York course is known for its uphill first mile up the bridge that then transitions into a downhill second mile. This is where Daniel do Nascimento would run the fastest split known in marathon history. The fastest split prior to this New York race was Amos Kipruto not too long ago at the London Marathon, where he unofficially ran a 4:21 mile in the closing stages of the race. On the flip side, Daniel do Nascimento turned on the jets in just the second mile of the race with the downhill portion of the bridge to get him the fastest unofficial mile split in a marathon by running 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Des Linden decided in the women's race that she was going to go out at her own pace and lead the 2022 New York City Marathon from the front. She didn't pull away from the chase group like Nascimento did, however, she had a pretty good gap. The men's race was witnessing something incredible. In just the first 10 kilometers, Nascimento was under world record pace by clocking 28 minutes and 42 seconds, which translates to a predicted finishing time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 3 seconds. Running faster than Eliud Kipchoge for the first 6 miles of this race, with the warmer conditions and on a tougher course, the next 20 miles were going to be very painful, or we were going to witness something very special. In the women's race, Des Linden would hold the lead for the beginning stages of the race and then would be sucked back into the lead pack. Nascimento was gapping the rest of the field by such a margin that you couldn't even see the chase group in the background. Chebet and Carrier both led the chase group and would start breaking the group little by little. The women's race, on the other hand, had many athletes within that lead group that would stay together for a big portion of the race. While the men in the chase pack continued to get farther back from the leader, Nascimento would split the first half marathon in 61 minutes and 22 seconds, almost 2 minutes faster than Jeffrey Mutai's 63:18 split during his 2:05:06 course record in 2011. The chase group was now over 2 minutes behind, but would it stay that way? Evan Chebet was clearly closing the gap on Nascimento mile after mile in the second half of the race as he surged on the Queensboro Bridge. Something you almost never see in any elite marathon race is the leader taking a bathroom break. At mile 18, Nascimento took almost a 20-second bathroom break and continued to lead the race. By 30 kilometers, his lead was down to just over a minute and was only getting shorter. Around mile 20, Nascimento would start walking and would do some arm swings to get back into the running motion and starts running again. This would cost him another 10 seconds or so. It was clear that Nascimento was suffering from the extremely fast pace from the first half of the race. 3 women led the elite field: Hellen Obiri, Gotthard Ghebreslassie, and Sharon Lokedi. They would then be joined by Lona Salpeter, who would remain in the group while Hellen Obiri dropped out of it. Nascimento in mile 21 would collapse onto the floor and was clearly in distress. As he laid on the ground, Chebet would run by him about 15 seconds later and take over the lead from that point on. Nascimento was taken to the hospital where he had low glycemia and dehydration. His agent reported that due to something Nascimento drank during the race, it gave him diarrhea. Underestimating the humidity and the warmth of New York, Nascimento went to total exhaustion just like he did in the Tokyo Olympic Marathon. He pushed himself to the point where he would sit on the curb and then somehow get back up quickly to rejoin the leaders, eventually pulling out of the Olympic Marathon. This time in New York, Nascimento was out of the race for good when collapsing at mile 21. If he can control himself and master his pacing, Nascimento will run very quick in the future over the 26.2 mile event. Back to the race we go as the women continue battling it out in the front with one another while Chebet was trying to hold the lead. Chebet led the Pacers by 28 seconds at 20 miles, but his lead was only 17 seconds at 35K over Kitara. The lead would then go down to 12 seconds by 40K, but the warm conditions were affecting everyone in the race. Sharon Lokedi made her move and Lona Salpeter decided to go with her. Gothitam Ghebreslassie, who was the marathon world champion, would not be able to respond to the move and drop into third place. Lokedi, making her marathon debut, was trying to separate herself from Salpeter, who was the bronze medalist at the World Championships in the marathon event. Salpeter entered the field with the fastest marathon personal best, and Lokedi was running in her first ever marathon. At the end, Lokedi was able to keep herself in the lead by just a few seconds and crossed the line in a time of 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 23 seconds to win the 2022 New York City Marathon. Lona Salpeter finished in second place, and Ghebreslassie finished in third place. Chebet survived the conditions and the competition to complete a clean sweep for Kenyan men in the 6 World Marathon Majors this year. Evans Chebet won 2 of them, Boston in April and New York in November. With a finishing time of 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 41 seconds, it is the slowest winning time since 2017. Chebet stated after the race that Boston was actually harder, which is a bit surprising considering the conditions that he had to deal with in New York. Kenya continues to dominate the world major marathons with some of the best marathoners coming within the same country. Kipchoge with 2 wins, Chebet with 2 wins, Amos Kipruto winning London, and Benson Kipruto winning Chicago. Comment down below if you believe Kenyan runners will dominate the 6 marathon majors in 2023. The 2022 TCS New York City Marathon had warm conditions, over 50,000 runners taking the course, the fastest mile split in a marathon ever, a woman taking the title in her debut performance, Nascimento collapsing out of the race after leading for more than 20 miles, multiple runners not finishing the race, and Chebet completing the Kenya sweep for the 6 world major marathons. A race for the history books. Thanks for watching the highlights of this year's crazy New York City Marathon. Don't forget to like the video, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel for more running content. I'll see you in the next one.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.